Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone around the world, and welcome to LifeWave Connect product webinar, where we get to come together each month as a global LifeWave community and learn more about exciting product information and things that are happening here in the world of LifeWave. We have just started a new year, and I know that we're all excited. We all know that this is going to be an incredible year of impact, of purpose, of growth, and of seeing lives change around the world, thanks to your passion for sharing the LifeWave products and opportunity with others. A few notes for this and the next month here to keep your eye on. We're going to have the Vision 2026 broadcast here in January, so make sure you look for announcements in your back office for more details. And here we're going to get to learn from our founder and CEO, David Schmidt, as well as our president, Meredith Burkich. So be sure to tune in. Also, for some of the incentive trips that are happening right now, the qualification period is going to run through February 22nd. And for the Italy presidential trip, that qualification period is going to run through April 12th. So, congratulations to all those that are currently running for those incredible goals right now. And we can't wait to recognize you at these events. But today, we wanted to begin the year with something special. And we all know that every great superhero has their origin story. And we're going to learn from our founder and CEO, David Schmidt, more about what inspired his journey of innovation and wellness to found LifeWave and to learn a little bit more about his vision for 2026 and beyond. So, with that, I would like to introduce our founder and CEO, David Schmidt. David, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Wayne, and Happy New Year to all of you. I hope that you had chance to spend the holiday season with your family and your loved ones and got a well-deserved break and are looking forward to the year ahead. I can tell you behind the scenes here at LifeWave, we are planning a number of very big things, a number of very exciting things. Year's going to be full of surprises. Of course, last year we ended off the year with an amazing conference in October. We had a few surprises, such as the world's oldest intern video. We had the debut, the private screening of our Code of Creation film, and certainly many others. And I would say this year we also have a number of very nice, pleasant surprises for building the business that's in store. So looking forward to sharing those with our community in the coming months and throughout the year.
Yeah, David, I know that I've been fortunate to get a little bit of a peek behind the scenes at some of the 2026 planning. And every time LifeWave does an event or launches a product or something, there's a little piece of me that's like, oh man, how are we going to top that? And as I've learned about your plans and Meredith's and the team's plans for 2026, it definitely does that. The bar keeps rising, the impact keeps growing, and I am so excited for 2026. So I hope all of us were able to catch our breath for a day or two over the holidays, because now we are into a full out sprint for 2026 to accomplish all the things we have in store. So thank you
Absolutely.
for setting up and teeing up another incredible year for us.
Absolutely. And, this is to say that we are putting a lot of time and money into our sales and marketing so we can continue to grow the brand and make it easier for people to build the business by building brand awareness about the company. But we're also making enormous progress in our research and development. It is, of course, our key strength. Our people are our key strength, but what sets us apart as a business is that we innovate, we develop new technologies, we get them patented, we do our research, we put everything into manufacturing so that our brand partners can have entirely new technology and products to go to market with and not have any competition. So there's a number of, one of the things my staff doesn't like about me taking any time off for the holidays because it gives me an opportunity to just sit and think and reflect about what new programs we might want to initiate in our research in the year ahead. So it means we're going to be very busy in the labs, but they like that. And it's always fun and exciting to give birth to a new technology and see it up and running for the first time.
Absolutely. And that innovation, David, as I've been able to witness, really extends across the entire company. As you mentioned, from products to programs to events to marketing initiatives and creating greater awareness for the LifeWave brand. And we are all so excited and grateful that you continue to innovate, that those ideas continue to come, that you're always inspired and you're keeping us at the forefront where there is no competition. We're out in front of health and wellness, leading the way. So thank you for helping LifeWave to be a leader in health and wellness.
Absolutely. Actually, it's a privilege for me to work with our leaders, work with our brand partners, and see what we work on in the lab come to life and then get that out to people so they can change lives, improve quality of life, relieve pain, give people more energy, support, natural healing. It's amazing community. So it's a privilege for me to be a part of that and witness these things that we see every day.
It is for us as well. And 2025 was another incredible growth year for LifeWave. We had so many new people join, so many new people join every month, again, because of the passion that our brand partners have in sharing your incredible inventions and innovations. And so I think today can be a little bit of an opportunity where we can shed a little bit more light. Either those that have been in the company for a while can reflect and be reinforced, and some of those new people that joined throughout the year can have the opportunity to learn more of that origin story. And so I'd love to start kind of taking a large step back, and just really asking, was there a moment in your life as you look back that you feel was really the catalyst to pursue a life of innovation?
There are multiple moments that I would look back on as moments that indicated to me this was the path that I was going to take, but it happened in different stages. So the one that our community is the most familiar with, which I won't spend time talking about now, is when my parents took me to the laboratory at Thomas Edison. So I've told that story many, many times, but that was really the moment that I knew that I wanted to be an inventor. We highlighted another moment in the Code of Creation film, which was I was blessed to have an uncle that was an amazing inventor, and seeing one of his inventions when I was a kid up in the attic of my grandparents' house, being able to see that, that really sparked something inside of me. But then this was really a process that occurred over a very, very long period of time. From the time I was 8, 9, 10 years old, I had this incredible appetite for learning and just wanting to absorb as much information as possible. So I read everything that I could. I was reading encyclopedias to just learn about every single subject and devour science. I loved it. Um, I had the opportunity when I was in college to speak with the chairman of the biology department, and he granted me access to his personal laboratory. And I was able to get a grant from a company in New Jersey, as well as a donation from the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, and began work on immunogenic and non immunogenic forms of cancer. And it was at that point that I gained experience in learning how to manipulate the membrane potential selectively of cancer cells versus healthy cells, and saw a very favorable outcome from that, being able to stop the progression of cancer in the mice that I was working with. So it's moments like these um, that stretch out over a long period of time, which kind of push you in a specific direction. Um, but in terms of LifeWave, my had have had a successful computer business, and I had the opportunity to get into research, do work for the U.S. Navy through government contractors, had a small group of guys that I was working with developing new tech. And it was at that point in my life that I was invited to be part of a design team for a mini sub program. And that's when LifeWave was really born, when that opportunity showed itself. So it's incredible sometimes, the twists and turns that you can take in your life. This is why it's so important to pray for guidance, to be patient, um, to hold true to your dreams. Sometimes they may seem unattainable, but it's very important we put time and energy into that. And I certainly wanted to do something to make a difference in the world and be an inventor. And God put me on that path in a very unexpected way for me. And it's been exhilarating, life changing, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Well, that's a beautiful and inspiring story to hear. Not just how things came together, but also how your faith has helped to guide you throughout your personal journey. And I'm curious, as you look back at some of those moments that you named, whether it was visiting, Thomas Edison's shop or some of these others, you had these sparks of inspiration. You felt, something stirred that was motivating you to move forward. Did you recognize at the time that you were being prepared for something bigger, or is that something that comes more from, continuing down that path in faith, and connecting those dots backwards?
I had no idea. No
Okay.
idea. This was actually a point of frustration for me. I would go to parties when I was in college, and I would show up, and then 20 or 30 minutes later, I would leave and I would go for a walk by myself because I would think about what am I doing here? I'm wasting my time. I know what I want to do with my life, and I don't see any path forward. And so I had this desire inside of me to be an inventor, to help people in need, and I had no idea how that was going to be possible, how it was going to manifest itself. And I remember very specifically, and I hope this will help the entrepreneurs in our community that are listening to this today. Um, I went down this path of doing work for the US Navy through these government contractors, General Dynamics Electric Boat, Raytheon, Newport News Shipbuilding, um, because I was developing new technology and power generation, survival equipment, so things that would save lives as opposed to weapons. And I kept thinking, okay, this is a great opportunity for me to be an inventor, to learn skills, to help people. But this is not at all what I imagined my life would be. And I kept praying over this and thinking, Lord, I feel this is the path that you want me going down, but I don't see how this is going to end up really helping people and why I'm doing this. I didn't really get it. And then, of course, later when I look back, it made complete sense because that, in fact, became the origin story for LifeWave, and from that point forward, it gave this incredible launching pad for LifeWave to begin. So if I hadn't done that work, LifeWave very quite possibly never would have been born. So I think it's very important that we continue to have a relationship with God, to continue to pray for guidance, and sometimes just trust that thing that the path that you're on is the correct path. You have to really search your heart for that. Um, but in my case, I never would have thought LifeWave would have come out of the path that I was on, and I'm grateful that it did.
I know we're all grateful for that. There are many ways an entrepreneur can bring a product to market, different channels to go into, and you specifically chose the direct selling channel as the go-to-market business model for LifeWave. Can you share a little bit about what inspired you to go the direct selling route, and what you believe this model makes possible that others might not?
So this is, perhaps another point of irony is that going the route of direct selling, of network marketing was the last thing on my mind. In fact, I would probably say um, I did not have a positive experience with the network marketing industry when I was younger. I had a good friend of mine. We're both entrepreneurial, and we went to several network marketing meetings when we were out of college because we had heard about this and we were curious, and we didn't really have a good experience. So when I had created the first LifeWave patches and I was introducing the product and the technology to doctors, chiropractors, medical doctors, acupuncturists, personal trainers, athletes. Um, at first I wanted to find out what would people think about this. What was their real life experience like? And then how was I going to take it to market? So is this going to be TV advertising, radio advertising? Um, I wasn't thinking about the internet back then as being really a viable means to do that. I was looking into infomercial marketing and also had discussions with GNC. So one of the things that actually transpired was going to the headquarters for GNC, creating packaging, getting Ronnie Coleman, who at that time was a six-time Mr. Olympia, to endorse the product. So it was very much going in the direction of being a retail product. But the thing that kept coming back was all these people I was speaking to could only see this as a product and not a technology. And they were totally missing the point. And then I got an opportunity to do some test marketing. And what was very clear that was coming back is I'll give you an example. I had lunch with a business friend in Georgia who knew a guy that was interested in health and fitness, who knew a guy that was in construction, that was interested in investing, who knew a medical doctor, and then that medical doctor knew a medical doctor out in California, and that medical doctor worked with Coach Richard Quick, a U.S. Olympic swim coach. And um, 3 weeks after having this lunch in Georgia, I was in California putting patches on Olympic swimmers. And that only happened through network marketing. And so it became very, very clear that if a network marketing company was run properly, ethically, had real science, real technology, people could build a business with it, that this could be something very special. And maybe we could create a network marketing company that never existed before, something really completely different for people. And it took a long time, but that that's what's transpired. So again, I think I would say this was really divine intervention in the sense that I was not thinking at all over a 2-year period of time of going the route of network marketing. But that's exactly what happened. And of course, it's changed my life and the life of so many other people. So I'm incredibly grateful that's the way it worked out.
Absolutely. And it is always amazing and inspiring to me how, when you're on the right path, the right people come together. The right situations seem to come together. You get in the right doors and the right introductions. And I'm always amazed as I hear your story about how you were really led along that path to create LifeWave. And the vast majority of companies, when they're started, most entrepreneurs know this, they don't even last the first year, let alone make it to 21 years and become one of the fastest growing global companies in wellness. In those early days, was there ever a moment that really stands out to you where you faced those challenges and maybe personally wondered um, if things were going to work out and what kept you going?
Many times, many times. So for our brand partners that are building a business, what I would say is you can expect that there are going to be challenges and you should embrace them. because all of these challenges are always opportunities. If you don't face it with LifeWave, you're going to face it another time in your life. And they're opportunities to grow, become stronger, uh, gain experience, and build something really special. So during the first 6 months of the company, I remember very, very clearly um, having the first prototype of the patches, knowing that this was something very special. It felt like a door was opening in my life, and I could see very clearly this was the future for me. And setting up the company, talking to people about getting the company started, and about 6 months in, I was maybe about $50,000 in debt. Uh, and, that was an enormous amount of money for me at that time, being personally in debt. But I still believed that this was the correct path, and I could see, kind of doing the basics each and every day, that progress was being made. So I didn't want to give up. And like you say, the right people started to show up. People started to invest in the business. And I always seemed to just have enough cash each month to get by and keep moving forward. Um, so that was certainly a significant point. Then in 2006, so the company starts in 2004. We do $500,000 in business our very first month, 17 million in business our first year, successful, in the black. I bought out a lot of the initial first investors. And in later in 2006, we're still doing well. And there's this somebody in Europe purchases stolen credit card information from Russia, places about $1 million in orders, fraudulent orders. We ship the product, pay commissions on it, and then there's all these chargebacks. So we have to pay back this money because they were illegally purchased. And by the time of December of 2006, we lost about half of our distributors. And I had to take money out of my personal bank account to meet payroll, so people could enjoy their Christmas. And I didn't know where money was going to come from at the 1st of January. So through the early part of 2007, month by month, we were just kind of covering our bills, but it was choosing which vendor to pay and which one not to pay. And by March of that year, I remember I went for a really long walk we were based in San Diego then. I went for a long walk in La Jolla, about a 3-hour walk. And I remember just praying to God and saying, Lord, I know this is the path that I have in life. Please show me a way to keep the company alive and keep going. I'm willing to do whatever it takes, but I don't see a path forward at this point. It was a very dark time. And a few weeks later, I got home on a Friday night and there was a letter from the IRS. And I thought, I don't know how much more of this I can take. And I thought maybe I'll try to relax, have a nice weekend, and open up the letter on Monday. And I thought, this is ridiculous. I have to just face this like a man and see what the problem is. So I opened up the envelope and there was a check inside for $163,000. And what I hadn't known was that we had overpaid on our taxes the year before, and this was a refund check. So that money got us through the rest of the year, allowed us to pay bills, keep the company going. And by the end of that year, we had a number of new brand partners that had signed up, especially in Europe. In 2008, our sales were double of 2007. 2009 was double of 2008, and 2010 was double of 2009. And the whole thing turned around. So the short uh, version of this is that as entrepreneurs, we're always going to face challenges. We're going to face struggles. It's an opportunity to build your relationship with God, to learn new skills, to face the challenges head on, to overcome them, to become stronger. And ultimately, what happened with LifeWave, we built a stronger business. And that's the foundation that we sit on today.
Such an incredible story, and such powerful insights. Thank you for sharing that, David. You've mentioned the patches as the initial products in LifeWave. For someone that joined LifeWave recently, how would you explain at a high level how the patches work and what makes them so different from any other product out there?
So, the initial idea, if we go back to when I was developing survival equipment for the US Navy, at that point, I had been put into a lab and I was in charge of research. It was a really small team. And I was thinking about how can we have power generation in an emergency situation, new ways of generating power, new ways of communicating. So I came up with these hybrid battery fuel cells, new types of turbines, new methods of generating oxygen, new methods of generating hydrogen. And during the process, I gave a presentation at General Dynamics Electric Boat in Groton, Connecticut. And one of the gentlemen that was there saw my demonstration of a technology that shouldn't exist. And he said, I really like that you're an out of the box thinker. We have this mini sub program. There's going to be a group of Navy SEALs on it. They have to go on these uh, really long missions, 30-hour, 60-hour missions. They have to stay awake and take a look at the program and see what type of contribution you might make. And, my first thought was I didn't like the idea that these guys were taking amphetamines, caffeine to stay awake. I thought, here's an opportunity to maybe create some kind of technology that can communicate with the human body and burn fat more efficiently. So we get 9 calories of energy from burning fat versus 4 calories for carbohydrates. So I began working on this idea and this concept. And basically, if we um, if we think of what is done in the military with light, and now in the public sector, we take light and we modulate it just like we would a radio wave, so it contains information. So we have laser communications today, been around for decades. We modulate that light so it contains voice data, and now you can hear a voice over a beam of light or over a fiber optic cable. So the idea was to apply the same kind of thinking over to a device that could communicate with the human body. If we could utilize the system that the human body already uses. Human body already emits what are called biophotons, which are used to signal the initiation of biochemical changes in the body. And so light can turn on genes that are associated with specific peptides or specific antioxidants. And that causes an upregulation in peptide formation. So let's use as an example X39 GHKCU. Human body has genes that will upregulate to produce copper peptide, and we can turn those genes on with light. And the human body already does that, but now we take the LifeWave patch. It will stimulate the skin with light. It's activated by body heat, stimulates the skin with light, and now turns on production of copper peptide. So in its very basic form, the LifeWave patches are stimulating the skin with light to cause an improvement in the flow of energy, the improvement in overall health and wellness. And and a whole host of other benefits. So it's a new form of light therapy.
Incredibly innovative and category creating, nothing like it on the market. So you had developed several incredible patches in the I'll just say in the earlier days or the earlier chapters of LifeWave. What was it about X39? And maybe you can talk a little bit about the inspiration and the process that has made it so foundational, so impactful to so many of our wellness journeys of all these individuals around the world.
Yeah. Historically, what's so interesting about LifeWave is to see the different generations of products, the different phases of the company. So in the early days, we had Energy Enhancer, Ice Wave, and Silent Nights. So the company was very much about improving quality of life, giving people a better night's sleep. And we did very, very well in those early days with only those three products. But at some point in research, I thought to myself, I wonder if it would be possible to upregulate the production of specific antioxidants and peptides. So the first two that I was looking at were glutathione and carnosine. They're very simple peptides. Glutathione is a 3 amino acid antioxidant. Carnosine is a 2 amino acid antioxidant. So I thought, oh, if we can upregulate these antioxidants, it has the potential to have very powerful effects in the human body, be very valuable products, and also give us a path forward into something new. So that was the second phase of the company. Uh, then around that same time, about 2009, 2010, I started thinking about stem cell technology. And I was working on something that I later got over 70 patents on, which is called a double helix conductor. And I approached Dr. Tim O'Brien at the National University of Ireland. He's a medical doctor, stem cell scientist, and he runs the Regenerative Medicine Institute at NUIG. And amazing, amazing gentleman. And I gave him a presentation on biophysics and what I had in mind to mobilize stem cells without having a stem cell injection. And after the presentation was done, um, I wasn't really sure how I did. And he said, I wish I had taken more physics in college because I really don't understand what you're talking about. But something inside me says that there's something valuable here we should look at. So I'm going to approve this. So we got a grant from Scientific Foundation Ireland, and we began to get donors, people in their 60s, to donate what are called mesenchymal stem cells. That's how they pronounce it in Ireland. Anyway, there are these MSC stem cells, and we began to culture these with the PhDs at the university and use this double helix conductor. And what we found was using a rabbit model where we induced a diabetic ulceration that we could heal these wounds uh, just as quickly as if stem cells had been applied to the injury site. So this was very important foundational research because it meant that we did not have to inject stem cells. We could stimulate the body with energy and mobilize those stem cells and even reset them to a more useful state. So, uh, going down that research path, I wanted to see, is there any way we could create a technology that might have some very broad health benefits, but be very simple, safe, and optimally do that with light. So X39 came out of the idea that we want to provide a product that stimulates the skin with light, promotes overall health, mobilizes energy production, and all the other product benefits that people that use X39 have come to love. And of course, we introduced that in 2018. It was a massive success right from the beginning. And of course, that's what has led to our incredible growth.
Absolutely, it is a product. I mean, all those products you named, I take on a daily basis, and have made such an incredible impact on my life. And I know so many, and I'm so grateful to have found the LifeWave products. I'm glad you mentioned research, and I know that really rigorous research is an important part of your innovation process, and it's not just upstream, in the early days of product development and innovation, but you use it throughout the entire process and also, uh, importantly, during the validation and testing. Can you share a little bit about your research philosophy and why it's so foundational to your work?
So with research, um, there's a few things about it I would say is first, I always try to start my day with prayer. Go to bed in the evening with prayer. Wake up with a moment of meditation and prayer, and consistently, I'm blessed with what I would call these downloads, where I get these flash of insight into something, and I'm able to see a problem from a different perspective, or I see something that I might not have seen before. And that creates a spark by where I say, okay, I can take that concept and now let's test it in the lab and see where that goes. What can it lead to? Many times in the lab, we're creating devices, we're creating new technology to explore phenomena that may or may not turn into a product, but it allows us to understand something that people may not have looked at before. It was very much that way with X2O. I had been working for years creating these materials that never existed before. And I had discovered a way to um, change the bond angle between different elements. So the simplest example is if you take um, copper and oxygen. Everyone is familiar what happens with copper. If you look at the Statue of Liberty, it was nice copper and it turns green. There's another form of copper oxide, which is red. There's one that's black. But by being able to electromagnetically manipulate copper and oxygen, we can change the bond angle and now get a version of copper that looks like gold. And we did that also with lead, antimony, bismuth, aluminum. And along the way of developing that tech, I thought, what if we could change the bond angle between hydrogen and oxygen? So the experiments then started. You can treat actually hydrogen as there's a metallic form of it. Many people aren't aware of that. We think of hydrogen as a liquid or a gas. There's actually a metallic form of hydrogen. So the thinking was take ordinary water, split it into hydrogen and oxygen, put it in the presence of a catalyst and the correct electromagnetic field, and maybe we could get a form of water that never existed before. And the benefit of that is if we could use that to trap light, you could drink this water and release specific wavelengths of light into the human body and have an entirely new way to offer health and wellness. So many times in research, this starts as a small little seed, small little kernel of knowledge or in flash of insight, and then you go and test it and explore, and then see what's possible. And in this particular case, that was quite a few years in development, and then huge challenges converting that over into a machine where consumers could just simply press a button and get this light infused water. But of course, the benefit to this is that this is going to change people's lives in an incredible way for the good, and offer our brand partners an amazing business opportunity. So from my perspective, We want to create technology that never existed before, that offers massive benefits for health and wellness and beyond. Patent that technology, manufacture it, get it out to market. So we're the only company in the world that offers that. And we continue to build the opportunity for the company and for the brand partners.
There's such incredible stories from product consumers, from brand partners around the products that you've invented, the products that you continue to create and will create. And those stories are really how these products get shared and the viral nature of the growth of the company, around the world. And if you could speak directly to brand partners listening today, what would you want them to really understand about their role in this journey?
Oh, the brand partners are everything. Without the brand partners, without our leaders, we don't have a business. This is a symbiotic relationship, and it's very important. What I love about this industry is that symbiosis, is that we get to directly work with the leaders and the brand partners that are building the company, building the business, and we get to work together and talk about how is it that we want to build the business, what's going on in the field, what are some things that we should be aware of, how can we have a stronger company. I'll give you a really great example of that is when we had the first compensation plan. Of course, now we're in comp plan 2.0. We had Steve and Gina Merritt join the business, and they did incredibly well their first 6 months. They worked really, really hard at building the business, but they got up to the top tier of the company very, very quickly. So Steve said to me, have you thought about a leadership pool? So I said, well, exactly what do you have in mind? How would that work? He said, well, these would be some extra incentives that you could have to for people that are the very top of the business. Here would be the qualifications. Here's how it might work. And I thought this is a really great idea. We're already paying out more money than every other company in the industry. So I didn't feel as if we needed to pay out anything additional. But the recommendation was so good, being able to honor the leaders that are building the company very quickly, the idea of having incentive trips specifically for that group, and being able to get together once a year to talk about how we want to build the business. They were just too good of ideas to pass on. So we increased the expenses of the company so we could honor our leaders in our community. So um, the brand partners, at the end of the day, the brand partners are our ambassadors. They're the ones that are out in the field every day, changing people's lives, relieving pain, relieving suffering with our products, promoting the brand. And it's our job at corporate to find ways to make that easier for them. So it's an incredible dynamic, and there's no other business model in the world that offers this. That's why I'm so excited about it.
It is such an incredible model, and it is always touching for me, being here at corporate and being fortunate to sit in meetings with you, David, and senior leadership team, and um, with Meredith and others, and how you always put the brand partners first. One of the first questions you always ask in any conversation is, how does this benefit the brand partner? How does this benefit our consumers? What can we do to help them share? And that's always been extremely touching and inspiring me to see, uh, and how that speaks to your leadership style. And so thank you for that. Just want to absolutely thank you for that.
Well,
We're
our conferences have become a giant thank you note
Yeah.
to our community. It started with our 20th anniversary, and was delighted when we can continue that this past year. But the idea was, we had held conferences every year as a company, but we always looked at them as opportunities to do business and product training. But that really shifted. Um, at our 20th anniversary conference, I thought, not many companies make it this far, and certainly going into momentum 15 years in is incredibly unusual. So, how can I and the rest of the team say thank you to this community for reaching this incredible level of success? So, the thinking was, let's give them an experience that they couldn't pay for if they wanted to. And as you know, it was absolutely amazing. We had 800 drones fly in and perform a show in Dallas. We had the Blues Brothers with Jim Belushi and Dan Aykroyd show up and perform on Thursday night opening. We had Gwen Stefani and Maroon 5 close us out. Incredible speakers. William Shatner beamed in as a hologram, to give a talk. It was amazing. And of course, we continued that last year, and uh, it was incredible. So um, this is something now that is going to be part of our culture. That we use the global conference as an opportunity to have great business training, great product training, get together as a community, but also an opportunity for the company to thank our community for an amazing job and take time to celebrate that in some amazing ways.
Yeah, and I do know that that is how you approach it and look at these events is thanking the brand partners for all the incredible work, for sharing their passion, for sharing your vision, for sharing the products with people around the world. And continuing on with vision, we've looked back over the course of this conversation in the past and what's going on today. And I'd love just to take the last couple minutes and get from you some perspective on the go forward, on the vision that you have for 2026 and beyond with LifeWave, and what excites you the most about these coming months and years.
No, there's so much to cover
Yeah.
there. First, from the perspective of innovation, we're not stopping. We're continuing to investigate, explore, and the ultimate goal is we want to be able to offer technology that people can afford, that everyone can use, that's safe. That's our goal as a company. And to me, that's, really exciting. We want to keep people healthy, give them tools that if they get sick or in an accident, they can recover, offer them an opportunity, of course, to earn money, and then offer them new technology, such as in the field of power generation, where they can become energy independent and have a business opportunity in that field as well. So we have incredible vision, I think, for the next 5, 7, 10 years of all of these different technologies that we're going to come out with, and how our brand partners will continue to build their businesses with these innovations. In the short term, we have some exciting things. I don't want to give up all the secrets, but some things that people already know about would be Code of Creation as one example. Um, we're going to be going into film festivals already next month in February, March, and April. So this is going to be an opportunity for a huge audience to hear about LifeWave in a completely non-selling way. And then, of course, we're going to look for mass distribution of the Code of Creation film. Uh, we had, of course, a great response to the world's oldest intern short video with William Shatner. And this is the 60th anniversary of Star Trek coming up this year. And so I think there's some opportunities that you and I have discussed to help build the brand awareness of LifeWave with that video and maybe some other special projects that will come along throughout the year. So I would say that in terms of everything that we're doing with new products like X2O, which released this year, continued innovation in our branding, in our marketing projects, there's a lot to look forward to. And then, of course, the ongoing travel incentives that we have, the leader incentives that we have, building the conference in October, and some surprises along the way.
Well, I'm excited about those surprises. I'm incredibly excited about what's in store for all of us for 2026 across all facets of the company, from the product to these incredible brand awareness initiatives that are underway that will help make LifeWave even better known throughout the world, even though it is in countries all over the world and has touched lives all over the world. And we're just, I know I'm going to be presumptuous, David, and kind of speak on behalf of all of us, but we're just incredibly honored to be on this journey with you. Appreciate all you do for us, for the world, for health and wellness in general, and for helping all of us to really elevate our lives and improve it in so many different aspects. So thank you for all you do. Thank you for taking the time today to share this origin story, as well as your vision for the future. And we can't wait to partner with you throughout this year to change even more lives.
Thank you, Wayne. Privilege is mine. Thank you.
Thank you, David. And thank you, everyone, for joining.